A few minutes ago, we met a man named Robert Hayes. He'd started out as a factory worker, earning a paycheck from assembling products, barely making enough to pay rent. But somehow, decades later, that same man owned the very company he once worked for. How did this happen? How does a regular guy like Robert go from zero to owning everything? Well, it turns out Robert wasn't your typical factory worker. Yeah, he started on the assembly line working 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week. But while his co-workers partied on the weekends, Robert spent his time reading business books and learning everything he could about economics. When the weekend came around, everyone went out drinking or watched TV, but not Robert. He used the time to improve himself, and that paid off. Because while his co-workers were upgrading their cars, Robert Hayes saved every spare dollar. That might not sound like a big deal until you hear what he did with it. Instead of saving it in a bank, Robert bought shares of the very factory he worked in. Slowly but surely, paycheck by paycheck, Robert became a silent owner in the company he worked for. But it gets better because Robert didn't stop there. While buying shares of the company, he also learned how it worked, how the machines operated, how supply chains worked, and how the managers made decisions. He soaked up all the knowledge like a sponge. So one day, the owner of the factory got into some trouble. The company was failing and the owner needed money. He put the company up for sale and tried to sell it for as much as possible. This is where it all came together for Robert. He had been preparing for this moment for years. Using his savings, his shares in the company, and a large loan from the bank, Robert bought the factory. He took it over and became the new owner. The same worker who used to punch in every morning now signed the paychecks. But that wasn't even the most impressive part of his story. Under his leadership, the company flourished. It expanded worldwide, hired more workers, and became more profitable than it had ever been before. In other words, Robert created real wealth for himself and everyone around him. This goes to show that anyone can become successful if they have discipline, grit, and work ethic. Let's take a look at some of the habits that helped Robert become so successful. Number 1. He understood the value of work. We don't often associate factory workers with high income, but the truth is that skilled tradespeople are very valuable. Robert Hayes knew that and respected his work. In fact, he started in the very place he eventually owned. He didn't start in the office or as a manager. No, he started from the bottom, doing manual labor alongside other people. But Robert wasn't afraid to do it. He saw the value in it and understood that it would help him learn more about the company, and he was right. By starting in the factory, Robert gained unique insight into how the entire system worked, which gave him a huge advantage later on. Many of us get too proud to do certain jobs, but if you want to make the most out of life, you have to understand that no job is beneath you. A garbage collector could teach you more about logistics and efficiency than any MBA. Do not overlook the power of doing things yourself. 2. Robert Hayes saved his money. Now, this may seem obvious, but you would be surprised how many people mess up their finances through bad spending habits. Robert didn't have a lot of money, but he saved what little he could. And over the years, those small amounts added up to big amounts. If you want to achieve financial freedom, then you must follow Robert's example and save as much as you can. You don't need to earn a high salary to save money. All you need is discipline and the willingness to make sacrifices. Every dollar you save brings you one step closer to financial freedom. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be able to buy your own company. Number 3, Robert Hayes invested his money. Saving money is important, but it's even more important to invest it wisely. Robert didn't just keep his savings in a bank account. He invested it in the company he worked for. This proved to be a wise decision as the value of his shares increased over time. Of course, investing carries risks, but if you want to grow your wealth, then you need to take calculated risks. Don't let fear of losing money stop you from investing. Just make sure to do your research and invest wisely. 4. Robert Hayes kept learning. It's easy to become complacent and stop learning once you've achieved a certain level of success. However, Robert Hayes never stopped learning. He continued to read business books and stay up to date with industry trends even after he bought the company. This allowed him to adapt to changing circumstances and make necessary changes to keep the company profitable. Never stop learning, no matter how successful you become. There's always something new to learn, and it will only benefit you in the long run. No. 5. Robert Hayes was patient. Becoming successful doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of hard work and dedication. Robert Hayes didn't become the owner of the company right away. It took him years of saving money, investing, and learning before he was able to buy the company. This shows that patience is an important virtue if you want to achieve success. Don't expect to become rich and famous overnight. Success comes to those who are willing to put in the hard work and wait for the results. And number 6, Robert Hayes was disciplined. Discipline is one of the most important qualities if you want to achieve success. Robert Hayes was able to save money, invest wisely, and keep learning because he was disciplined. He did not let his emotions get the best of him, and he stuck to his plan no matter what. Developing discipline isn't easy, but it's essential if you want to achieve success. Set goals for yourself and hold yourself accountable. This will help you stay on track and achieve your objectives. If you want to succeed in life, you need to learn from the stories of people who've done it before. Robert Hayes is a great example of someone who achieved success through hard work, dedication, and smart decision-making. Follow his lead, and you too can achieve your dreams. You see, Robert Hayes didn't just become successful because he followed some random advice from a self-help book. No, he created his own path to success based on his unique circumstances. He didn't have a silver spoon, but he did have something more valuable, his wits and his work ethic. He used what he had to create a life he was proud of. The key takeaway from Robert's story is that success isn't about where you start. It's about how you start. You can go to the best schools, have the best connections, and still fail. Or you can start at the bottom with nothing and work your way to the top. The choice is yours. What matters most is that you take action. Don't just sit around waiting for success to find you. Go out and find it. Robert Hayes didn't wait for someone to hand him success. He went out and earned it. And in the process, he became one of the most successful people in his field. So if you're feeling stuck in your life right now, remember Robert's story and take action. Start by setting small goals for yourself and then work your way up. Before you know it, you'll be on your way to achieving big things. Now, if you like this video and want to know more about the lives of super successful people, I recommend watching another video I made about a homeless millionaire. I think you'll really like it. Thanks for watching.